book along with the lectures that they do. One thing that we could do that would be very smart this way would be this, for example. Let's say that the three of us were in a class together. We run to each other right after class on the day that this is announced, and we say something like this. I'll take chapter 8, you take 9, and you take 10. Okay, so we make that little plan, and then we make a date to get together to study maybe a day or two before the real test. Okay, now, if we do that, we have these 3 chapters, right, and they're assigned to individual people. This is my chapter right here. So my job between that day and the time we meet is to go home and read this chapter really carefully and do one other thing with it. What would that be? Yeah, do what I've just shown you, which is to create a quiz. Type it up, make like 10 copies of it. On one of the copies, write answer key at the top and write in all the answers, whether they're multiple choice or true, false, or whatever, okay? What are they supposed to do? Same exact thing, they better, with their chapters, right, because this is our deal. And then when we come together for our study session, the very first thing we do is we pull out copies of our little quiz that we made, and I give one to you, and one to myself. I have to take mine, and then they do the same. So we just kind of are like the teacher for a minute handing out the test. And then we sit there quietly for 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, and we take all the little quizzes. When we're done, we hand them back to the person who brought it. They pull out their answer key and turn back into the teacher for a minute and correct them and then hand them back. All of that's very simple to do, okay? Once we're done with that, how do we spend the rest of our time together? Okay. Instead of just sort of where are the snacks, or well, what should we do, or whatever, which people say all the time, we're going to start with my chapter because it's the first one. And so I say this, okay, question number 1 on my little quiz. She says, correct. He says, correct. I say, correct. We all got it right. So what do we do?
Just repeat it. Move on.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it. We're all clear on it. So go to number 2. How about, though, and this will happen a lot, how about if one of us misses it and the other 2 get it right? Then what do we do?
Discuss it.
Yeah, we discuss it. And you know how we discuss it? One of the best ways you could ever study is to explain something to somebody else. So let's say the 2 of us got this first one right and he got it wrong. We explain it to him. Later on, she's going to be the only one to miss one. Sometime I'm going to be the only one, so everybody will have their turn and we get to sort of teach each other those things. Okay, when we're done and we've gone through all of these, then the good thing to do is, I mentioned making like 10 copies. And people say, why would you make 10 copies when you only have a couple people? It's so that you can give each person 2 or 3 other ones that they can take home and practice again, take again. And so by doing this, instead of you having to make up all these quizzes on the whole chapters, you get to split up the work. And if I came up with a quiz that had 15 questions and the 2 of them did too, then all of us would have 45 potential test questions to keep practicing before we walked in to take the test. And I know that at least some of those would show up on the real test, which again would be an advantage. Okay? And then one last thing about this. Before I go into our study session together, how much of this do I need to have read? Yeah, all of it. And some people say, oh, all of it? They got excited for a second thinking I just have to read one of the 3 chapters and then everybody else can teach me the rest. There's a good way to get an F on any test you ever take.